Yeah, but we gotta go through the beginning first, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. We're ready? We're good? Okay. That's okay, come on in. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Caldwell-West Caldwell Board of Education regular public monthly meeting. Today, Monday, January 29th, 2024. Today, the board met in executive session. Actually, it says 6 p.m., but it was 5:30 p.m. here in James Caldwell High School, room 105, 265 Westville Avenue, West Caldwell, New Jersey. The purpose of that meeting was to discuss personnel, litigation, miscellaneous, and old business matters. That meeting had been advertised and is in compliance with the Open Public Meeting Act and NJSA 10:4-6, also known as the Sunshine Law. The matters discussed will be made public when confidentiality is no longer required, and formal action pursuant to said discussion shall take place only at a meeting to which the public has been invited. Tonight, the public conference meeting is beginning at 7:03 p.m. here in the James Caldwell High School cafeteria, 265 Westville Ave in West Caldwell, New Jersey. The Board of Education meeting is being streamed live, but all community questions and comments are welcomed here in person. The Caldwell-West Caldwell Board of Education public conference meeting is also in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act and NJSA 10:4-6, also known as the Sunshine Law. Notices have been sent to the Progress in Caldwell, New Jersey, the Star Ledger, Newark, New Jersey, and Tap Into West Essex. Notices have also been posted at the Board of Education Business Office in the Harrison School Building, Gray Street, West Caldwell, and have been delivered to the clerks of the Borough of Caldwell and Township of West Caldwell for posting. Brian, can you please take the roll?
Yes. Student Representative Madeline Alberta.
Here.
Ms. Steve Martini.
Here.
Ms. Landafi Jefferson.
Here.
Ms. Mack.
Here.
Mr. Tiambola.
Here.
Ms. Grosso.
Here.
So you have 5 voting members present. We have a quorum.
Great. Maddie, you want to lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Brian, are there any communications for the board this evening?
There were none.
Thank you. Okay, so we're going to move to the superintendent's report.
I'd like to invite Mr. Devlin up to the podium to recognize one of our retiring coaches.
Sure, thank you. I'm honored to be here tonight to thank one of our coaches that is retiring after many years of service, Mr. Bob Masella. I should start out by saying that when I was first appointed to this position, had the honor of being appointed by the Board of Ed in 2015, they gave me a yearbook before I started, and I was going through the yearbook, and I remember saying to one of my colleagues, I looked at the football picture and I said, they got more coaches at Caldwell than they do at Rutgers. You know, there were so many coaches there, and most of them were volunteers. And I think at that time it was Ken Trimmer was the head coach, Dan Romano was the offensive coordinator, Tom Lamont was the defensive coordinator. But one of the things that's interesting is that over the past few years, really the old guard has sort of turned over to the young guys. But it really speaks to the culture of athletics here. The board has certainly been very supportive of all of our athletics and extracurricular activities, but it is the people of the community, the guys who, many of them played for our teams and want to continue to coach for our players, that really make this a special program. And those of you who've been in other school districts really can see it when you travel from one athletic department to another, and I certainly would thank Dan Romano, too, for his service, who I think has really been able to carry on that tradition. Dan couldn't be here tonight, but he wrote a couple of words. He wrote some things down here, and I'm going to read about Bob. Okay. Tonight, it is our pleasure to recognize a very special person, Mr. Bob Masella. Bob has been part of the Caldwell-West Caldwell community for close to 50 years. He is truly a legend. Bob started his teaching days in North Bergen in 1963. While there, he coached baseball and football and was involved in 5 state football championships. In 2006, he retired from teaching after 43 years at North Bergen, where he was the department chairman for health and PE. Upon moving to West Caldwell in 1977, Bob immediately became involved in our communities. He served as the councilman in West Caldwell for 15 years and is currently involved in our recreation department, serving as the director for special events for the past 16 years. Bob and his wife Joan have raised two fabulous children, Rob and Mike, both doctors, both outstanding athletes, and both involved in our current football program. Bob's shift to Caldwell football had much to do with Rob and Mike. In 2010, our Caldwell football staff, led by then head coach Ken Trimmer, reached out to Bob and asked if he was interested in coaching at Caldwell. As luck would have it, Coach Masella agreed, but he agreed on one condition, that he work as a volunteer, not wanting to get paid at all. He worked the same as every other paid coach and refused any compensation. Coach Masella cherished the opportunity to coach with his friends, to work with coaches that coached his sons, and most of all, to enjoy the opportunity to coach with his sons. Bob Masella coached football with the Chiefs for the past 13 years. This year, after an amazing run, Coach Bob Masella has decided to retire from coaching football after 53 years. We owe Bob Masella a debt that can never be repaid and are proud to consider him a legendary part of our Caldwell Chiefs family. Thank you, Coach Bob Masella.
Nice.
Everybody, let's stand up. Come on, get on your feet. Let's make some noise.
Just a couple more things. Please, everyone be seated. We know that Coach Masella has got plenty of Caldwell swag. We couldn't really think. I don't think he needs another shirt or sweatshirt, but we do have some golf balls that you can use in your time off. But I think with the Chiefs head on it, absolutely, with it set on there. The other thing that we should say is that not only, Bob has also supports the community through Unico and student scholarships. He's very much a part communicating with us about trying to get special events and fundraisers. And also his wife Joan is one of our most dedicated and supportive substitutes.
Yes.
And yes. And they love to travel, and I think if it wasn't for the fact that they can't travel in the fall because Bob continues to coach, that Bob would probably continue to coach. So now that you will be free to travel, Joan, we were still going to give you some blackout dates when we know the AP testing, we need you here, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But we do want to thank you both for your continued support. Absolutely. Congratulations.
Well, first of all, very humbling. 53 years I didn't think was long until I got invited to my first state quarterback when we won a state championship, his 65th birthday. So I said, wow. And I have to thank the Caldwell-West Caldwell Board of Ed for allowing me to do this. I have to thank Coach Trimmer, and he did. He came up to me and he said, how would you like to coach with your sons? I don't know how many people can go to work every day and not mind it. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it because the kids, we had three things. Okay, I told them, if you're not having fun, don't play football. And I had a mother call me last year and say, did you tell my son to quit? I said, I never told him to quit. I said, if he wasn't having fun, football might not be for him. So she thanked me. And of course the kid stayed and he played 4 years of football. So I have to thank the board, and I have to thank Coach Trimmer and Coach Lamont and now Coach Todd Romano for allowing an old man to stay on the field. So again, it was great, never minded one day coming to work. And I knew my sons were here back in the 90s and they won that state championship, that once you're a chief, you're always a chief. So thank you very much.
Before I just have a quick statement, but I'd like to open it up to the board if anyone would like to make any comments.
I would just like to say thank you, Mr. Masella, for your service. I was a chief too. I went to school in the 90s, and you really are a legend in our community, and we appreciate your volunteering. You've certainly made an impact on the students and community members. So I know you're going to still be busy, though, because you have a lot of grandkids. So between the traveling and your grandchildren, enjoy. You're welcome.
That's right, that's right. I just want to make a formal statement on behalf of the board that I wrote. Before I do that, on a personal note, I feel that Mr. Masala, you're one of the people that's responsible for me being here. We had a lot of heart-to-heart talks when I started to run initially for the board, and I look to you as a father figure, a mentor, and I'm so grateful to you for your wisdom and guidance to me personally always. I can say in our community there's very few people that talk the talk and walk the walk, and this gentleman right here is definitely one of them. So thank you very much. Now I'm going to read my formal statement, okay, that I wrote for you. So, Mr. Masella, on behalf of the Caldwell Board of Education, I'd like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to you for your unwavering dedication and exemplary service to our district and community throughout your tenure as an esteemed football coach. As you embark on the next chapter of your journey in retirement, we reflect on your profound impact, not only on the field, but also in the lives of countless students whom you have inspired and mentored. In the spirit of the Caldwell Chiefs motto, once a chief, always a chief, Coach Masella, you have exemplified the values of leadership, integrity, and perseverance, instilling these principles in each player that you have coached. Your commitment to excellence has left an indelible mark on our school and community, and for that, we are all eternally grateful. While you may be retiring from your official roles on the field, we take comfort in knowing that your passion for shaping young minds and fostering athletic achievements will endure. We know where to find you, somewhere on the sidelines of a high school or a recreation game, offering guidance and support to those who seek it. Let us remember the words of Ralph Waldo Emerson, who said, "What lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us." Your legacy, Coach Masella, will continue to inspire generations of Chiefs to come. Thank you. Can we stand up one more time, please? I think 53 years, we can stand up one more time. So we're going to get a quick picture for the
Wait,
chap
it's
if
going to
that's
take
okay.
a
Yep.
2-minute break and get some pictures, all right?
Right. We got to approve minutes, right?
Everything.
Everything, good. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. We're back. Back in action. We're good. Okay. Thank you guys so much again. Okay, we're going to move on with the agenda. Committee reports. We have committee reports tonight. So let's move on to that.
Want me to do personnel first?
Yeah, let's do personnel. We'll do personnel first.
All right, so for personnel, We had a personnel meeting on January 16th at 3:30. Myself, Ms. Mack, Dr. Conklin, Mr. McCarthy, and Ms. Jones were present. The committee reviewed the projected need for a special education teacher. We previewed and discussed 3 IT job descriptions, as well as 3 draft job descriptions, 2 IT and 1 coaching. The administrator reviewed the recent sick leave law and the potential impact of the district, and the administrators provided updates on ongoing negotiations. And that was
Okay.
our committee report.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the board about the Personnel Committee report? No? Okay.
Finance and Facilities?
Finance and Facilities, thank you.
Sure. The Finance and Facilities Committee met on January 18th from 5:15 p.m. to 6:48 p.m. Board committee members present included President Julianne Grosso and myself, Danielle Mack. Dr. Christopher Conklin, Caitlin Jones, and Brian McCarthy were present for the administration. The committee reviewed all finance and facility agenda items for this meeting. It was noted that the purchase of an F-250 maintenance vehicle was budgeted for fiscal year 2024 and replaces a vehicle that was retired last year. The board also thanks the Washington and Wilson HSAs for their continued work for the district and recent donations, which are going towards SEAM clubs and after-school programs. The committee started their initial review of the upcoming fiscal year 2025 budget. Members of the committee agreed that expense containment and the minimization of tax levy growth would be priorities in the budget creation. With the latter goal, the committees will be targeting an under 2% tax levy increase for fiscal year 2025. The public hearing and adoption of the fiscal year 2025 budget is scheduled for May 6th of this year, so mark your calendars. Thank you.
Great, thanks Danielle. Any questions or comments from the board?
No.
Nope, okay. All right, so we'll move on to the approval of minutes. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes, please?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
And may I have a second?
I'll second.
Brian, can you take the roll, please?
Yes. Ms. DeMartini,
Yes.
Ms. Landolfi Jefferson,
Yes.
Ms. Mack,
Yes.
Mr. Diambola,
Yes.
Ms. Grosso,
Yes.
5-0, motion carried.
Okay, so now we're gonna move to public comments on agenda items only at this time. Remember, there'll be a time at the end of the meeting for things off of the agenda. For this time, just items on this evening's agenda, okay? Public participation shall be governed by the following. Participant must be recognized by the presiding officer and must preface comments by an announcement of their name and address. Statements are to be limited to 3 minutes duration. Participant may speak no more than once on the same topic until all others who wish to speak on that topic have been heard. All statements shall be directed to the presiding officer. Boards may use the public comment period of the meeting as an opportunity to listen to citizen concerns, but not to debate issues, or enter into a question and answer session or a cross-examination between the public and individual board members. Be aware not all issues brought before the board this evening will be resolved. Boards may respond to public comment by seeking additional information or by delegating the authority to investigate the issue to the superintendent or his designee. The presiding officer may interrupt, warn, or terminate a participant's comments if it exceeds the allotted time or is objectively obscene. Participants may be civilly liable for any obscene, defamatory, or slanderous statements made during public comment. Does anyone want to come up and make comments on anything, comments or questions on anything on the agenda right now? No, we're good? Okay. We'll have a chance for items off at the end, alrighty? So moving on, let's go to our votes. We're going to start off with curriculum and technology. Terry, please.
Upon the recommendation of the superintendents of schools, motions to approve items A through L under curriculum and technology, including item number 412 modified under A on this evening's agenda.
Great, thank you, Terry. Do we have a second, please?
I'll second it.
Okay, Brian, will you take the roll, please?
Yes. Ms. DeMartini,
Yes.
Ms. Landolfi Jefferson,
Yes.
Ms. Mack,
Yes.
Mr. Diambola,
Yes.
Ms. Grosso,
Yes.
5-0, motion carried.
Okay, personnel?
Personnel, under the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, motion to approve items A through N under certificated and items A through E under non-certificated under personnel on this evening's agenda.
Okay, any questions or comments on the board? Nope. Okay, do we have a second, please?
I'll second.
Brian, can you take the roll, please?
Yes. Ms. DeMartini.
Yes.
Ms. Landolfi Jefferson.
Yes.
Ms. Mack.
Yes.
Mr. Diambola.
Yes.
Ms. Grosso.
Yes.
5-0, motion carried.
Okay, finance and, can we do finance and facilities?
Yeah, it's
together?
one,
Yeah.
yep.
So finance and facilities.
Upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, motions to approve items A through I under finance and item A under facilities on this evening's agenda.
Any questions or comments from the board?
Nope.
Nope. Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Great. Brian, can you take the roll, please?
Yes. Ms. DeMartini.
Yes.
Ms. Landolfi Jefferson.
Yes.
Ms. Mack.
Yes.
Mr. Diambola.
Yes.
Ms. Grosso.
Yes.
5-0, motion carried.
And we have no updates to policy, so we have no policy vote this evening. So now we'll move on to public comments on anything off of the agenda. Once again, same rules apply. I'm not going to go through it. Same, we just read it before, okay? Anybody have any comments they'd like to come up and address the board on anything off the agenda? Or if something occurs to you that's on the agenda that you'd like to come up and talk about, feel free.
My name is Ann Manjo, and I live at 141 Small Avenue. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to answer because you just said you can't give me answers, but I know I brought up two things in the last meeting in December about police presence at the middle school, and the other one was busing, basically to the high school since it's not centrally located. So I don't know how to proceed further. You know, my next step is to try to get maybe other parents involved. I've recently talked to people about it, and someone told me that they know of a high school student on Central that the parents are paying a neighbor to drive their child to school every day to the high school. So I really feel that this is something that needs to be addressed, and that, you know, people just don't want to take the time to come here. I mean, today I had to work all day. I had to go to CCD. I actually picked up dinner rather than cooking to come here. So I think that there is a major need, but no one is making the time to come here to say anything. Same thing goes like back when there wasn't all-day kindergarten. Luckily, we were able to rally up parents to come because it, you know, just went on and on and on for years like that when we were the only district. So I don't know what else to go further. There seems to be more police presence at the middle school recently, but I don't know if that's because I came here or that's just a coincidence. I did talk to someone at my job, because I'm a teacher, that happens to be a retired Caldwell police officer, and he told me that there's only 3 or 4 cop police officers at a time on the schedule during the day, believe it or not. That's what he's had informed me. I don't know if that's true or accurate, but that's what he had told me, because I was telling him my concerns, and he was a retired police officer. So I'm just here again. Unfortunately, the 2 people that are on board with me, they didn't come tonight. One just had a baby, and the other one just didn't come. But I don't know how to proceed further about busing to a high school that is not centrally located, and that there's a lot of working parents that cannot drive their child to school. And again, it's just the times are different now, and I believe there's a major need for busing, even if it's that parents have the option to pay, or it's, you know, or there's maybe the district is paying for part of it, but parents have to pay for part of it or whatever. But I really feel like it should be addressed sooner than later. My son isn't going to the high school until he's only in 6th grade, but there are parents that are in need of busing in this town, and there isn't busing that live far. Thank you. I don't know if there's any thing that anyone wants to say, or you guys are not responding, basically.
No.
Is that my understanding?
No, yeah, and it would be great if you could send an email to Dr. Conklin. That would be terrific, especially about the busing issues. If you could put this in writing and put it so that there can start a correspondence between yourself and the administration, That
Okay.
to me would be your next best steps. We're listening to you, but we don't administer the district. So
Okay.
it would be great. These are administrative items. So if you could email Dr. Conklin, if you need his email, just see him right after the meeting.
I could
And
find it on
let's-
the
and
on the
let's
district
start-
site, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
so let's start a correspondence.
Okay, so that's great. So I really didn't know how to go about it, so
Yes.
that's why I'm here again, to see if anyone could give me some help.
Yeah, so let's start a correspondence with the superintendent.
Okay.
With your specific, I mean, you're being very eloquent right now, but if you could just put it in writing. So
Sure.
that there can be a correspondence.
Not a problem.
started.
I will, if I don't get, it will be over the weekend probably, because I have
fine.
report cards.
That's fine, that's fine, that's fine.
Okay, thank you.
And Ann, thank you for taking the time out. We
I know,
it's
it's
busy and it's
people
tough.
just don't want to come.
Yeah. But
They're
we
just
appreciate
busy. They want to come, but they're just so busy. All right, thank you.
You're welcome, thank you. Anybody else?
Can I just add one thing?
Yes,
about-
yes, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Please do email me, but in terms of the Caldwell Police, they are there in the morning and the afternoon, but staff is limited. So if there's an emergency or something comes up, that's why you may not see them there. They've told us that in the past, like they have to leave because there was an accident or some other thing that they had to be involved in. But they are typically there in the morning and during a drop off in the morning and then a dismissal in the afternoon, unless there's an emergency.
A lot of presence on the avenue because there's not that many police officers working. So,
But we do work with them and we do try to have them there for drop off and dismissal.
thank you.
Thank you, Ann. Anyone else? Hey, Liz, come on up.
Liz Hart, 149 Ravine. I just wanted to quickly ask Dr. Conklin about the budget. So last year I had requested that it be posted on the website, the preview budget, because it was advertised in the paid newspaper. Not everyone subscribes to the paid newspaper, so I just wanted to confirm that that would again be available on the website this year.
Yeah, we'll make sure we get it posted. on the
Okay,
website.
perfect. Thanks.
Thank you, Liz. Anyone else?
I really didn't have anything until John Walker, 63 All Lady Drive. Until she brought up the police presence at the middle school. If there's not enough police officers in Caldwell Police Department to make sure kids don't get hit by cars at the beginning of school and after school, if there's an emergency during the day that requires more than one police officer, should that not be a concern for every single person in this room?
You'd have to talk to the Caldwell Police. We don't hire them. We don't, we're not involved in what they do. We just ask for their support.
Okay, so could I just state for the record that there are lots of programs nationally recognized and certified for threat response for actually the school themselves to take action to mitigate those lack of resources in the public sector?
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sorry, thank you.
Hi, Beth Dean, Memorial Road. I'm wondering if you can give an update of the construction and status of Harrison School.
What's your question exactly? I'm sorry.
If you can get an update of the construction status and what's going on at Harrison School.
So Harrison's being renovated. It's in the middle of being renovated right now. They finished the first phase and there's 2 other phases to be completed. We're hoping the renovations are finished by sometime in the fall of '24. That's our hope.
The fall of this year.
The fall of September of '24. So the beginning of the next school year.
Okay. So what is completed? What has been completed in phase 1?
Renovations of internal spaces to be able to move the old board offices into new offices, and now they're going to be renovating the offices that existed back into the classrooms that they were before when the building was first built, and then there'll be renovations outside of the building to add a vestibule, and we're also looking at the HVAC in the gymnasium. So all of that will happen in the next 2 phases of the construction. Renovation, sorry.
So what was previously the board offices has been where the board offices were moving to, that part has been completed, so.
For the most part, yeah, it's
Okay.
still got some things to be completed in terms of HVAC finishing, some other finishing pieces. And then they'll be able to start working and finishing the classrooms to update them. And then we have to go into the gymnasium to update the HVAC. We're trying to wait until the school's not going to be in full use, because we use that space throughout the day. So we
Right.
want to wait to the end to be able to convert that. So
Okay.
that'll be something that hopefully happens over the summer, but we all know sometimes construction gives you one deadline, and it seems like it's always 6 to 8 weeks after that.
Okay, so anticipating that could be completed by the fall of this year, then how will that building be used?
That would be a conversation that happens next year, probably potentially for 25, 26. There hasn't even been any conversation about that. We're just in the process of getting the renovations finished before any conversation goes into what we're going to be using Harrison for.
So you're thinking no new students there other than
Again,
the
I
current
have
programs
no
in the
comment to
fall?
what it potentially could be used for. That's something the board will decide sometime next school year.
Okay, all right. I have a different question. Should I continue on or should I?
Does anyone else have anything to speak about with Harrison Building? Okay, so,
okay.
Ms. Nursing, we'll bring you right back up.
Hi,
Okay.
Alyssa Manelli. I live on Forest Avenue. I wasn't going to speak, but that struck me as odd. I'd like to ask why you would plan renovations if you don't understand the purpose of those renovations.
So we had ESSER money to expand the opportunity for students to be in smaller classrooms. We're looking at the potential for new housing going up. So we wanted to use the federal funds that were available when they were available 2 years ago to start these renovations. They were half finished, and we wanted to make sure we finished the school to make it a viable school. What it could potentially be used for has to be decided. There's so many factors that go into what the final determination the board wants to use that facility for, in terms of demographics, in terms of housing sales, and where students live and where they don't live, and other schools potentially renovate. There's so many questions, like I'm thinking of 5 now, so we wouldn't be able to really make the final determination what Harrison is going to be used for until sometime next school year.
Okay. Thank you.
Come on.
So my other question was about the Uniform State Memorandum of Agreement with law enforcement that was just updated. You voted its approval tonight. So my question is, what is different in that agreement than the previous one?
There's not too much different. Every year we have to sign the memorandum of agreement. There were some updates in how boards and the police can communicate with each other in terms of sharing information.
Information about students, information about security concerns?
Information about our security process, and information about student issues.
Okay. You know, the Department of Justice recently released their report about Uvalde's shootings, which is a horrifying read. And I would recommend for the board members to read at least the executive summary. It's 30-something pages. Horrifying. And so I am hoping that the board has plans to work really closely with local law enforcement, county, state, fire, all of those people, and really review the plans that are in place and how that is communicated to staff, not only within the district, but outside the district with other law enforcement. So coordination was really critical. So, okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
The last meeting, I brought up the Raptor hack, what she just suggested with communications. I highly recommend and want it to be noted publicly that Raptor was the only SOC 2 compliant school safety software and communications platform, and they got hacked in the entire United States. So when picking a vendor, please make sure that our children's cybersecurity person personal information and our family's cybersecurity and personal information is very well guarded. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay. I'm going to then close public comment and ask for a motion from the board to end public session now at 7:37 p.m. and enter into executive session back in room 105. Can I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
And can I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay.
Sure. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All against, nay. Any abstentions? Motion carried.
Great. So before we close, I just want to remind everyone, if you're involved, we have our STEAM referendum committee meeting this Wednesday. To all parents and administrators who are involved with the board on that, Ms. DiMartini and Ms. Mack are heading STEAM. On Thursday, Mr. Diambola and I have our first meeting about the field house with the coaches, administration of the high school, and athletic director. And so we will, continue to share and be transparent as those meetings take place. And we are done. We will see everybody in February. We are, remind me, where are we in February?
Oh.
Middle? No.
No.
We're at our first elementary school.
Jefferson or?
I think it's Jefferson. I do think it's Jefferson, but
I
check
think
the
Lincoln's
website.
in March, but I think it's
So
Jefferson.
February, we're at Jefferson School. Okay, so that's where we'll be, and meeting is adjourned. Thank you so much, everybody. 3:30
Elementary